back. Let's get you a check on the markets. Equity benchmarks rose early today, extending gains from previous sessions with the Sensex index breaching the 60,000 mark. Tracking a fall in oil prices that dropped to their lowest level since mid-February amid concerns over global growth outlook. Let's get you the very latest with my colleague Priyanshi, who joins us. Priyanshi, the markets are crossing the 60,000 mark for the very first time since April.
That's right, Divya. It's a great time to be an investor in the equity markets these days, as investors had faced huge losses for the past few weeks and even the past few months ever since the war in Ukraine started. But for the last week or so, we're seeing, in fact, since end July, we're seeing that it's been a good time to be an investor in the markets, and markets have been seeing gains. Today, a key mark of that 60,000 points has been crossed by the Sensex, and it's the first time that Sensex is above 60,000 since April. So it's the first time we're seeing such levels since the month of April. Now, if we get you the details of this and if we tell you why this is really happening, well, Sensex is above 60,000. It has gained around 0.3% today. Nifty has also gained. But why is this really happening? Well, easing inflation is the primary reason behind this. Easing inflation and also easing crude oil prices are what is pumping up the markets. Remember, markets had been falling because inflation was rising across countries. And when inflation rises, investors expect more rate hikes by central banks of various countries, and that's what takes down the demand. That's also what takes down the investing and the consumer sentiment, the investor sentiment in the market. So now that inflation is coming down, not just in India, but even the United States, both these major countries reported a fall in inflation. In India, inflation has gone below 7% now. It's still above RBI's benchmark, but that easing trend definitely sends out a positive signal, and that's what is the major reason behind the markets being up, behind the markets being supported these few days. Now, if we talk about Brent crude oil, which is also an important reason behind markets gaining, is Brent crude has actually fallen to war levels. The crude oil is currently trading around $93 per barrel, and it's around a 6-month low. If we talk just about the last month, Brent crude prices are down by 12% in just the last month. So that is one of the reasons, along with inflation. These two reasons are sort of pumping up the demand and pumping up the consumer sentiment in the markets. That's also what's bringing back foreign investors in the Indian markets. Remember, foreign investors had been net sellers in the Indian markets, meaning they were taking money out of the Indian markets each month ever since October last year to July this year. But ever since July, they've been pumping in money in the Indian markets. They've been investing. In just August, they've invested 22,452 crores. So that is also a positive sign for the markets, that foreign investors are coming back, meaning less inflation fears are there in the markets, less rate hike fears are there in the markets, because when investors expect more rate hikes, they go back to safer currencies such as the dollar and they take out money from the Indian markets. But this sign that we're seeing, that foreign investors are coming back in India, that's definitely a sign that's taking up the markets, and that gives an overall positive signal that inflation is coming down, and rate hikes also might come down in major economies across the world. So definitely great news for the markets this morning as Sensex crossed that key 60,000 mark.